Ladies and gentlemen, direct from a very good airline seat, an excellent prayer. Our special guest and my friend of 24 years is known as America's Minister of Encouragement, the rich little of the clergy, the doctor of a merry heart that doeth good like a medicine. By way of Fort Worth, Austin, Baylor University, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, welcome Dr. Dennis Swanberg, the Swan.
All right. Woo! Thank you very much. Oh, it's good to be with you folks. I'm telling you, I've got a word for you I think that you can hold on to and chew on for a long, long time. And the title is long, but hold on now. You can handle it. Is your love tank full? Or are you loving on empty? Now, some of you are loving on empty, I can tell, tonight. You need a good fill-up, baby. And if your love tank is full, man, life is bright. You're excited. I mean, you've got pizzazz. I mean, you're possessed with an energy that's beyond measure. You know, like, for instance, let me explain. My little wife, my little woman, my little honey love, my little Laurie, 4'11", going to heaven. I mean, she's a good-looking woman. I mean, when I see her, I just sort of, you know, sort of an unknown tongue, you know. But anyhow, I get excited when I see my little honey and think about my little honey. And, you know, when I'm on the road a lot, when I get home, I can't wait to see my honey love. And I get home and walk in the door, and there's my little sugar baby and my boys, Chad and Dusty. And I want to do something sort of family-oriented. You know what I mean? I want to go out to eat with them, sort of do something, you know, a typical family would do because I've been on the road. And so we go and we get in our Suburban. We've got this green Suburban that holds 40-something gallons. Maybe 42. I mean, when you fill that baby up, you got to get a small loan at your local bank. You know what I mean? I mean, as Ross Perot would say, it's the biggest sucking sound I have ever heard in my life. When she puts the foot to the pedal, it's a sucking sound beyond measure. I'm telling you. I mean, man, when she puts her foot on the feet, I mean, the sheiks out there in the Middle East are going, aha, yeah, yes. I mean, it's sucking it down. But anyhow, most of the time when I get home, I get in the car and in the Suburban, and all of a sudden I look, and where's the gas gauge? Man, it's on the big E, empty, baby. We're talking on the little orange part. We're talking below the orange part. And I'm going, woman, you need to fill this car up with gas, baby love. Good night. You're going to be on the side of the road someday. I'm going to be gone on the road. You're going to be there helpless, my soul. Good night. Woman, fill it up. Oh, never let it get below a quarter of a tank. Honey, okay, I'll try to do everything, okay? You know, you're gone and you know, having a good time, and I'm working, okay? I'm here at home. And I try to do it all, okay? I'm going, okay, baby. You back off, you know what I mean? You sort of step back and say, okay, baby love. Well, what I've learned to do, man, when I come home off the road, I just go and get in the Suburban, and I take it to the gas station and fill that baby up. I mean, it's a long time. I just sort of, you know, have a book with you. But anyhow, you know, newspaper, but I mean, it's going to take a while to fill that baby up. And when you finish filling that baby up, then you come back, you see. And then I go in and say, hey, baby love, Big Swan filled it up for you, baby love. Well, thank you, honey. That helps so much. Thanks. Yeah. I went, yeah. Yeah, baby. I said, well, you better hold on to your man, baby. You better hold on to the Big Swan. Better keep me, baby. I'm God's gift to you, you know. Oh. Well, I tell you, when I fill up that Suburban, when it's full, I'm telling you, that little woman can go everywhere. She can go to this mall, that mall, that mall, and I mean, she's just happy and just drives and just goes and goes. Life is full and rich. The promises of God, oh, they just sort of grab her heart and soul, and she just lives life. But when she's on empty, I mean, she could be sidetracked. She might not make it, and that's not a way to live. And that's the way we are in our love languages. We all each have a love language. A language that we really like, that really fills us up. Now, I know the Lord. I know the Lord fills us up with His love. I know that. But I also know that He chooses to fill you up and fill me up with love from other folks as they love us in our language, our own tongue. We all have a language. And man, when we love each other in their particular language, oh my goodness, life's great. And there's all kinds of languages. For instance, let me start up there is the language of laughter. And this is one of mine. I love to laugh. I've laughed all my life. I love to make people laugh. I love just to sort of help folks lighten up. And I realize that my language of laughter is a good example, for instance, of all the many various kinds of languages because, for instance, I do those voice impersonations, and there's so many voices out there, just like there's so many languages. For instance, like there's the voice of old Don Knotts. Now listen, has anybody seen Thelma Lou? She's the cutest little thing you've ever seen. Bless your little heart. Now, and so I'll use that voice, and I'll use a Jimmy Stewart's voice, For some of y'all are getting older, And you're getting older whenever time you lean over to tie your shoe, you decide to stay down there a while, And you're getting older when your knees buckle, but your belt won't, And you're getting older whenever time you see a pretty girl, it does something to your pacemaker, makes the garage door go up. You know what I mean? I wrote a poem about it. I can live with my arthritis. My bifocals fit me fine. My teeth are quite comfortable, but oh, how I miss my mind. I really do. There's been times when I'll be preaching, Pastor, and I know folks are sort of downhearted, not really into it. And I just think, well, maybe their language is laughter. I need to loosen them up a little bit. So I'll just break into Billy Graham. I'll just break right into Billy and talk about literature, videos and tapes, whatever you prefer. Did you know that the other day I was praying for your pastor, Charlie, and I was praying for old Bobby, and I was praying for Swanberg. And I said, Lord, I want to know, will they go to heaven? Will they be there forever and ever and ever? I love to say ever. And he told me, yes, they shall be with me in heaven forever and ever. And I said, why? And he told me, they've never reached the age of accountability. So there's hope. But laughter, people like to laugh. People like to laugh, and if you have a loved one that their language is laughter, well, loosen up a little bit. Laugh with them. There's all kinds of things that can get you tickled. I can think back to times when I used to be a pastor in the pastorate for over 20-something years. All kinds of crazy things can happen at church, I'm telling you. My goodness gracious. I remember one time I was in church and I was trying to, give it everything that I had. I'd been to the seminary. And I was right out of the seminary, Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. And I learned how to preach loud. I could be loud. I learned how to talk softly and clearly. On occasion, I learned how to cry when you're in a building campaign. And I learned how to preach on the high gestures for the heavenly, medium for the worldly, lower for the naughty, combinations. They think, what a man of God. I learned how to use my glasses. They think, what a man of God. A scholar, a man of intellect. And yet all I'm trying to do is remember, do the Cowboys come on at 12 or 3? But I remember when I'd always wait on the choir. Pastor, I don't know if you ever had to wait on the choir much, but I'd always wait on the choir, walk in with the choir. I thought it looked good. And so I'd walk in with them, be the last one to come in. Well, usually I'd have to sort of prompt them, go to the choir room and say, y'all ready to go? Y'all ready to go? It's about time. It's about time. Y'all ready to go? Let's go. And one little lady said, Brother Dennis, my V-neck, should I have my V-neck up against my neck or should I show my collar? I want to say, lady, who cares? But you don't do that in ministry. You don't do that. I said, looks good either way. Well, I remember, always saying, well, let's go, let's go. Well, this one time, I remember, I was in the little room next to the quiet room. We were a little country church. We only had one little the room. It was sort of a co-ed room, and that little old church didn't have any insulation. I don't know how to say this, share this, but from my heart that we were family. And I knew they were in the choir room. They knew I was in the room. And while I was in the room, I heard them leaving me. I heard them leaving me. Could they not wait on me? Oh, no. Choir people, when they get ready, they just go. Just take on off. Man, I'm hurrying as fast as I can hurry. I opened up that door. I hooked them, you know what I mean. I caught the last one just in time. I walk out there with them on the platform. Everybody sort of looks up there at me and starts giggling and goo-hee and ha-ha. And I went, oh, no, 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 no. I've always heard about it happening. I didn't want it to happen. I checked my zipper, but my zipper was up and in the locked position. It was okay. But I looked down, I had a 6-foot piece of toilet paper on my shoe. What do you do in a situation like that? I just whipped it around my leg. I had little ladies in the background going, ah! I mean, they're just dying. I almost entitled that message, Don't Squeeze the Charmin. But anyhow, But you got to laugh. You got to be able to laugh at church, laugh at home. That's some people's language, is laughter. So, you need to loosen up. Laugh a little bit. Sometimes I get so uptight. I had a creative thought the other night. I was eating Mexican food. And you eat Mexican food after 9 o'clock, you can have visions that you know not of. And about 3 in the morning, all of a sudden I had this vision. The fajitas made a move, and the sopapilla and the salsa. And I just started set up in my bed, and I saw Jonah. I saw Jonah. You're not going to believe this, but I saw Jonah. And Jonah, I realized, was the ancestor to Forrest Gump. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Now, I don't know if this is of the Lord, but I think it's of that Mexican food. But anyhow, this is my vision. This is my testimony. He was standing there, and he said, I was running from God. And I got in my Bubba Gump shrimp boat. And then I fell overboard. And a big fish swallowed me up. And spit me out on the shore. Sort of bit me in the buttocks. That's all I'm going to say about that. But he said, preach to the Ninevites again, so I did. Stupid is, stupid does. Well, I know that's crazy and wild, but you got to be able to laugh. Don't take yourself so serious all the time. And if your loved one likes laughter, learn to laugh with them. When you laugh with them, when you smile with them, it just fills them up. Listen, Mom and Dad, kids will come home for Thanksgiving and Christmas and those reunions when they get older if it's fun to be at home, if it's a joy to be at home. If it's exciting where you can just be yourself and you can laugh, they want to come home. And I think it's so important for us to understand, if that's their language, to loosen up and laugh a little bit. Some of you men need to loosen up. We got to work. We got to work. Got to work. Okay, Dad, we'll work, but laugh a little. All right, let's go to work. But there's the language of laughter. There's the language of gab. Oh, there's a lot of folks that love to talk. Talk. I'm a talker. I talk all the time. I never quit talking. I'm in the 10% of men that talk constantly. My little wife, Laura, she's in the 10% of women that don't talk constantly. I mean, she's just quiet. She's just real quiet. That's why God put us together. But most of the time, you know, women are the talkers, and men don't like to talk. I mean, men come home after work. I mean, they talked out about 2 o'clock. And they come on sit in their blue chair and just kick back, get a little channel changer, have a little therapy, you know. And the wife says, honey, come tell me about your day. Open up your heart. Open up your heart to me. And he's going, you been to another one of them women conferences or something? Open up your heart. I have a tape I want you to listen to. I ain't listening to another tape. Listen, Bubba, if she likes words, give her words. You know, tell her you love her. You know, I mean, some men, you know, I've dealt with folks in Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana where I've pastored years past, and you know, I'll have those men say, Brother Dennis, I told her when we got married I loved her. And I told her if I ever changed my mind, I'd let her know. I said, Bubba, there's a Hebrew word for that. Bakar, whole bunch of bull. I mean, if she likes words, give her words. Tell her you love her. I mean, open up, spit it out. I love you, baby. Oh, honey, say it one more time. I love you. Okay, I said I loved you. And you know, but that's what she needs. That's what he needs. If they're verbal, give them words. You know, I'm so verbal. You know, I have the tendency of always loving Laurie in my language. Don't y'all do the same? I mean, I love her in my language, not always in hers. For instance, about a year ago during Valentine's, I was going to be gone on the road most of the month. So I got those little stick-on pieces of paper, little stick-on pads. I wrote about 30 little notes and stuck them everywhere through the house. I mean, I put them in the freezer. You open up the freezer, it says, it may be cold in here, but my heart burns for you, baby. Big Swan. I had them in the cupboards, in the drawers. I had them under the bed, in the bed. I had them in the bathroom, on the mirrors. I had them in her car. I mean, everywhere. Little notes all over, everywhere. When I got down the road a ways, I called her on the phone from the motel that night. I said, baby, love, Big Swan. Your man, baby, love. Did you get my notes? Yes, I did. What do you think, baby? Well, it was nice. They're nice. Okay. Well, baby, what do you think? Well, left little stickum stuff everywhere all over the house. Man, you try, and you try, you know. Boy, it irritated me. I sort of felt like the old boy there in Louisiana who came to me and counseled with me and said, Brother Dennis, I don't know what's the matter with that woman. I fixed her a deer stand that is second to none. Cost me $749. She's hunted in it one time. I put a heater in there, some carpet, had an adjustable seat in there. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I have loved that woman. I said, Bubba, listen to me. She spells deer blind, Hyatt, Marriott, Resort. You think so? Yes. Yes, Bubba. See, we don't always love one another in their language. There's the language of laughter. There's the language of gab. And I mean, if that's their language, laughter, we'll loosen up, laugh, cut out a cartoon. If their language is gab words, we'll learn to open up and talk and share, open up your heart. I know it's hard, but try to do it as best you can. At least give them the tip of the iceberg of what's going on in your life. But that's the way they're going to have their love tank full to overflowing. You don't want them loving on fumes and living on fumes. So love them in their language. There's the language of the mall. Oh, Lord, help me. The language of the mall. My little sugar babe, this is one of her languages. Most all of us are bilingual. That's one of hers. I'm telling you, that little woman loves the mall. She goes mall to mall, mall to mall. Oh, happy little camper is she when she's at the mall. She loves gifts, to buy things, nice things, and she buys us nice things all the time. That's her language, and I have to work at it. You know, I have to work at that language. I'm not good at it. I remember one Christmas a few years ago, I got her a set of golf clubs. She played with them one time. I remember when she opened them up, she just went, thank you. You know, my family was there, my sisters and their spouse and family, and she just went, thank you very much, okay. You know, you knew you struck out right off the bat. Well, gift number 2 was some little, you know, dainty kind of little hubba little outfit. And she opened it up and went. And I looked at my dad and he went, try again next year. But anyhow, you know, just old Floyd Leon, my daddy. Finally, the 3rd gift was some kind of little purse called a Dooney Burke or Goonie Burke or Dooney Burke purse. And she went, ah! I mean, she just, that year I batted .333. You know, what I have to do first, she's so little, I just go up to the mall. And I tell you what you do, this is what you do. If their language is gifts, I just go up to the mall and I look around. I walk in, look around. And then I make a beeline to this little store called Petite Sophisticate. It's for little people. And I just walk in there and say, here's her picture, here's her sizes. I want the most expensive thing you got in there. Wrap it up and make me happy and make her happy. So they do, I charge it. And in honor of Larry Burkett and Ron Dunn. But anyhow, you know. Little humor there, but anyhow. So then, you know, Christmas, she opens it up and goes, oh, honey, great. Oh, thanks. I went, baby, I looked all over the mall. Language of gifts. The language of the mall. That's some folks' language. And if that's their language, learn to buy some gifts. Learn to get them something. Get them something nice. That's their language. There's the language of Timex. Timex. My little mama, Pauline Bernadine. I love my little mama. Pauline Bernadine. I remember the days growing up, I'd come up to her and be walking out of the house going to school, and she said, you have nicer things to wear than what you have on. I said, Mama, I'd be ashamed. I would be ashamed of what you have on. I said, Mama, this is what we wear. I don't care what they wear. It hurts. It hurts. Your daddy and I work so hard. It hurts. It hurts your daddy. I said, he don't look hurt. He's hurt. And then she says, I wonder what your teachers think of your mother. I said, Mama, I wonder. I said, Mama, you don't go to school up there. You are a reflection of your mother. I went, Lord help me. You know, I thought I had a problem. But anyhow, and then I remember those days when I'd come home and my little mama would be there to hug. My mom was a hugger, and she'd say, hug your mother. Hug your mother. My little mama, Pauline Bernadine, about 5 foot tall. I said, hug your mother. I said, Mom, I don't want to hug. I said, hug your mother. And I said, Mama, you know, when they get upset, they skip syllables. You ever notice that? My daddy, Floyd Leon, was sitting nearby in a lazy boy recliner. He grabbed that stick and went, boom! Broke that thing down and said, you better hug your mother right now. Daddy knew if she was unhappy, later on he'd be unhappy. But anyhow, so the next thing I knew, I put my arms around her barely. She said, that is not a hug. And I looked at my daddy and I read his lips. Hug your mother. I picked her up, I squeezed her tight, kissed her on the neck and right on the mouth, like in the movie. Just planted one on her. She said, I am your mother. I am your mother. I said, well, I hugged you, Mama. I don't care for that kind of hugging and kissing on my mouth. I said, well, isn't that the way you and Daddy kiss? No, it isn't. You know what I said? Poor old Daddy. But my little mama, I love my little Pauline Bernadine. I love my mama. And her language is the language of Timex. Time. She likes time. She wants you to be with her all the time. You know what I mean? I want you. I said, Mama, what do you want for Christmas? You. I want you for Christmas. For one day, we'll just get together and we can go shop and run errands like we did when you were a little boy. And I'll go get my hair done. And you can watch while I get my hair done. And Wanda would love to see you. And I went, oh, Mama, last time I went there, you got one of those Tonys. And, remember those Tony kits? Boy, it messed up my allergies for 43 years. Woo! Goodness gracious. I remember that lady do her hair. She pulled out a Sue-Crep box. Had bobby pins in that Sue-Crep box. Put about 2 bobby pins per curl. I remember I didn't know what Sue-Creps were until I went to Baylor University. I was walking down the athletic dorm one night, looked in this room, this guy was in there with a Sue-Crep box, just taking one, put it in his mouth. I never knew they were throat lozenges. We just had Sue-Crep boxes in our home. I didn't know him. I went in there and said, man, don't put that in your mouth. He said, what's supposed to do? I said, put it in your hair. You know? Of course, Mama used to clean ears with that too, you know what I mean? Just sort of dig deep down in there. Tears come out your eyeballs. Woo! Man, that would hurt. And then she'd say, look what I got out of there. Look what I got out of your ear. I went, I don't want to look in there. Look in there. Look. Man, nasty. But she wants time. That's some folks' language. If that's their language, you ought to give them that language. There's the language of the hug. Oh, yeah. Little touch. It's one of my languages. I'm pretty affectionate. I love my little honey. I love to hug on her and give her those hugs and kisses. That's my language. I love her to hug on me. I'm more affectionate than she is. And I'm always saying, honey, come over to Big Swan and give me a little hug. Come on, baby love. Honey, okay, we got a lot to do, okay? I'm going, yeah, we do. A lot of hugging. Come on, hug the Big Swan. I mean, there's times we'd be driving down the road, and we got this idea from old Grady Nutt from years ago. And we'll hold hands and just be me and Mama in the car and driving along down the road and, not really saying much, not mad at each other, just, how you drive and just sort of listen to music. And all of a sudden, I'd reach over and grab her hand. We hold hands. And if I squeeze 3 times, I love you. She squeezed back, how much? And then I go, oh. One day we were going down the road, I went, I love you. She squeezed back, how much? I went, oh. And then she went, oh. And I went, oh. And she went back, oh. And I went, you want to pull over here at the roadside park? She said, drive, okay? Just drive. I've tried to coach some old boys, that I don't know. I said, non-sexual touch. Just hold her. Just put your arm around her. Now, tonight your assignment is just sit in the couch, watch a little television, and just put your arm around her and just hold her gently. Just cuddle. I don't cuddle. Cuddle. All right. So they go home that night, sit in the couch, and she goes, okay, honey, now, okay, remember what the preacher said, just cuddle, just put your arm around me. Not so hard, just easy, tender. Tender, honey. Give me the channel changer in my hand here. Let me watch television. No. Be gentle and just that nice little touch to say that I love you. There's the language of the hug. And if that's their language and they need to be touched and held, well, then give them that touch. Give them that hug. Give them that love. There's the language of the apron. Oh, yes, the language of the apron. There are those folks that just serve, and they're hospitable, you know what I mean? They just fix the house up, and they love to have folks over, and they tend to everybody and just serve one another, and that's the way they say, I love you. Now, my little woman, she's got a lot of this in her, you know. I mean, she loves to have people over. We pull out the nice china. You know, I mean, her family came over like the last Easter, and we pulled out all the china, and we had the dining room table. Looked like an Aladdin's blanket, you know, loop-de-loo on that thing, on that table, and all kinds of candles and magnolias blossoming forth out of that Aladdin's blanket. And I remember a big centerpiece. I picked that thing up and moved it, and there was my brother-in-law across this table. I went, hey, Rick, how you doing? Talk to you after we eat. You know, put it back. Those little ring things that hold the napkins, have to have those. Put a dadgum napkin. Can't use a regular napkin or towel paper. Have to have something that you have to wash and iron later on. All decked out, you know, just really nice. And then when it's all finally finished, you know, then they all hang around forever, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's supper time. Y'all want a little light snack? Okay. And then we bring out the pottery. Oh, great pottery, so nice. Where'd you get your pattern? I'm going. Meanwhile, I'm looking, china is piling up over there. Now pottery is piling up over there. And then, don't use those forks. Get out some new forks. I'm going, what's the matter using the same old fork? Tell them to lick it off. You know what I mean? But, you know, I'm crude and rude. My wife's cultured. Well, finally, then that evening, they're still there. Y'all want a little dessert or something? No dessert? And we'll bring out another little dish and another little fork. And then all of a sudden, I hear those sweet words. Her mother says, Laurie. Her mother sort of, you know, does, I don't know if it's a breathing problem or what. But, Laurie, you want us to help with the dishes? Let us help you. And I'm going, yes. And what does my wife do? Oh, we've got it. Y'all go on. We've got it. Y'all go on. I'm going, oh. When the last one leaves, I'm going, We're up till 1 in the morning, cleaning, washing. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to help, trying to put the stuff up, and she goes, honey, it doesn't go there. I'm going, I think we're going to put it right here, baby love. I'm thinking, no, honey, it doesn't go there. If you would help me more, you would know it doesn't go there. Oh, they know how to get you, don't they? There's the language of the broom, the vacuum cleaner, and the dusting rag. Remember old Paul Ann? Oh, my goodness. Dusty. I told my sugar babe, I wish I was a piece of brass on that fireplace. At least I'd get rubbed on every now and then, you know what I mean? I wish I was the top of that television. I'd get dusted off every now and then. Honey, you're doing fine. Okay, you're fine. I'm going. And they clean. She loves to clean. And some people, that's their language, just by cleaning and making everything nice and neat. You know, I'll come in off the road. I'll sit in my blue chair, kicking back, you know, just to rest and look at the house that I'm trying to pay for. I'll look up on the fireplace. On the fireplace, there's always seems something new in the home when I get back. I mean, something new just sort of comes forward. I was sitting there, and I looked on the fireplace, and there's this vase with a bunch of sticks coming out of there. Just sticks coming out of the vase. Not a bud on there, not a flower. I went, what creek did you get those out of? I didn't get them out of a creek, honey. You don't want to know what I paid for it, but isn't it nice? I'm going, Came home one time, and there was a ceramic dog by the fireplace. We've never even had a dog that looked like that dog. Don't you like it, honey? Do you like it? And she likes to fix the house up and keep it. And we've only lived in the house about a year and a half, and she's already repainting the house. Found some gal that comes in and does a thing called the rag roll. Rag rolled our bedroom. And then sponge painted her little office. And then just took some ketchup bottles and squirted my little Dusty's room. Just paint, just, whoo, whoo. And we paid for that. I want to say we could have given the boys a bottle of paint with a... Wouldn't have cost us a dime. But if that's their language, learn to help. You know, I've tried to, help by learning when I come home, especially if I'm in trouble. You know when you're in trouble, don't you, man? You can call on the phone. Hey, baby, how you doing, baby? Okay. Everything all right? Boys okay? Doing the best I can. I start to feel like Tim Conway. Okay there. Okie dokie dokie doo. Okie dokie. All right there. Oh, okay. Oh. And I know I'm in trouble, and so anyhow, I hurry. I'm on the way home. And I remember her saying one time, it would help me a lot, if you would, vacuum and iron with me. I wanted to say that is a language I know not of. You know what I mean? But I was in such trouble. I pulled over at Sears and I got me an iron. And I got home. There she was. She was ironing. And I've got an ironing board and the most expensive iron they had. I just propped it up. We weren't really talking. Sort of that time of silence. Silence is golden. Sometimes yellow. But anyhow, I propped that thing up, put it right next to her, plugged that thing in, went and poured some water in it, punched a couple of buttons, tested it, hot, grabbed me a shirt, started ironing with her. She said, that helps. That helps me. I went, well, I'm your man. And then she said, well, if you're going to do it right. Man, sometime when I'll be at home, I know I'm in trouble, and she calls on the cell phone. I purchased her a cell phone for emergencies. The $18.95 per month for emergency only. Our first bill was $159. Everything is a crisis to her. I'm at home by myself, and I know I'm sort of in trouble again. All of a sudden, she gets on that cell phone, and she calls, and I go, hey, baby. She says, hi, I guess you're home. I said, yeah, I'm here, baby. Look, I'm on my way. I said, where are you? Just 2 blocks away, coming around the corner. I'm going, that's 35 cents. Okay, baby. I'm coming. Okay. Good night. Another 50 cents. She's coming 2 blocks away. But I thought I'll use it to my advantage. I knew I was in trouble, so I went and got that vacuum cleaner around. And right as she pulled in, I was going, and she comes in and goes, that helps me so much. I went, better keep the big Swan, baby. Of course, I'm trying to build up some dividends, but anyhow, love them in their language. There's the language of arts and crafts. Some folks, some of your loved ones, they make things. That's their language, make little things, sew things, make quilts. My grandma used to do that, my grandma Belle. My Aunt Mary Lou, she makes these little rabbits that, crocheted rabbits you put around an egg, for Easter. One year, I think she made 500 of those things. Just little eggs, just around the egg. And she made rabbits one time that you put the Lysol can in there in the bathroom with a head on it, a crocheted rabbit. Where's Lysol? In the rabbit! But anyhow, if they give you something like that, say thank you. That's their love language, There's the language of so many kind of things, but languages so many. And the Lord has every one of these languages. You think about it. The language of laughter. He used humor better than anybody. There's the language of words. He would use words sometimes sparingly, and sometimes he'd just give them so many words. And they would say, never a man spake like this man. On and on, the Lord, had all those languages. And he realized that he created his people with all those languages. The Apostle Paul He was cognizant of the fact that everyone had those languages. Matter of fact, in 1 Corinthians 13, when he talked about love, he'd say, love is patient, love is kind, love does not have its own way, is not easily provoked. On and on he would go about love. And why would he give us so many angles of love? Because he knew there were so many different languages of love. I tell you, when I love my little sugar babe, in her language, her love tank is full to overflowing. When I love my boys, Chad and Dusty, in their language, I mean, life is rich and full and exciting. I mean, you think about some of the characters, you know, in time past and even today. I think about old Barney. Remember, I mean, he was wordy, and so he was talking all the time. You know what I mean? He just talked and talked and talked and talked. Andy, now listen, Andy, Thelma Lou, and just on and on. He was just wordy. Jimmy Stewart was always sort of wordy. You know, John Wayne. Oh, let me tell you, was a little wordy along the trail. And that's just the way he was. And Billy Graham can go on and on and on and on. I remember as a little boy watching Billy Graham on television. I'd be sitting there and old Billy would be on the TV and said, and some of you are watching by way of television. I went, I am. And you're right there in your own home. And I want you to write me, Billy Graham, Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Winnipeg, Manitoba, or Okeechobee, you know, or... I thought about those folks that were so good with words like Ronald Reagan. He was always so good with words. And, yes. And, you know, he just was good. I think about Ross. Ross has more words. Now listen, if you'll vote for me one more time, I tell you what I'll do about that deficit. I'll pay for it myself. There's a lot of languages out there. Folks that are verbal. I think of others. I think of old Mr. Haney on Green Acres. Remember him, old Pat Buttram? He was verbal. And he quoted that poem to his little sugar babe one time, got him in trouble. He said, when angels fashioned you, my love, they took the very fairest things that made you fair. Took two perfect seashells for your ears and robbed morning sunbeams for your hair. From the sky came the stars, which are your eyes. The rose was robbed to paint your sweet mouth red. And then the angels smiled, and from a bird they took the brain and placed it in your lovely head. And then I think about, I remember, hey kids, Sesame Street. Oh, Bert and Ernie. 1, 2, 3, 4, Ernie. And Grover. Hi there, I may not be very big, but I'm strong and wiry. And Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog here. Hi there, I am very happy to be here. And thank you there. Okay there. And, Miss Peggy, is your love tank full, or are you loving on empty? Oh, Kermit. And Cookie Monster. Oh, Cookie Monster. Oh, I love Cookie. But anyhow, I'm trying to find out what level y'all are really on here. Oh, it's about time for me to try to wrap this up. Hang with me here for just a moment. So many languages. And the Lord, He realizes that you have your own language that He gave you. He loves you so much that He speaks to you in your language. Matter of fact, the Lord Jesus left the glory of heaven and came to this earth, threw aside the rights of God to become a man, to become like you, to become like me, to speak our language, because He loves us so much. You know those guys that had that little phrase, Pastor, I love you, man. Now, they're creative, but they're not original. God's the first one to come up with that. Did you know that? He said it to Adam. Adam, I love you, man. You know what Adam said? You ain't getting my apple. You know what God said? You ain't living in my garden either. But God loves you so much that He personalizes His love for you in and through His Son Jesus, in and through the power and the work of the Holy Spirit, who comes alongside of you in life to encourage you in your language, in your tongue. And if I want to be like Him, I need to love others in their language. Oh, I have the tendency to love them in mine, but I need to love them in their language. Let me tell you 2 stories, and I'll shut her down. You believe that, don't you? Ministerially speaking. But anyhow, I remember when I was at Baylor University, my little mama, Pauline Bernadine, in Austin, Texas, I missed her. I missed my mama when I was at Baylor, and I was homesick from my mama and my daddy. But, you know, you wouldn't let on. But there was this preacher named Marshall Edwards and his wife Doris. They were a pastor there in Waco at the time, and they used to be in Austin. He was my high school football chaplain. And they decided to have some of us Austin, Texas kids come over to their house there while we were at Baylor in Waco, Texas, for a meal. And so we were all excited, about a dozen of us. We got over there, and it was good to be with them, to have a real meal, you know what I mean, not the dorm food. And all of a sudden we're on the back porch, and Doris comes out. Doris is a very cultured lady. She said, okay, dinner's just about to be served, but I want to ask a few questions. And she asked, like Alan, what's your favorite meat dish? And he said, meatloaf. And I went, meatloaf, you know. We had so many crackers in ours, I never got into it. But anyhow, you know what I mean, Pastor? We've been there. And she said, well, I've got meatloaf. He said, you do? How'd you know that? Well, I called your mother. And then she asked another student, what's your favorite dessert, and this and that, favorite salad, and got just about all of them. And came to me, but I knew she wouldn't know my favorite food. But she said, Dennis, what's your favorite dish of all dishes? I knew she wouldn't get it. I'd never told anybody. I'd never even told my mama. And I said, you're not going to get it? Well, try me. I said, cream peas. Cream peas. Cream peas. Doris said, I've got cream peas. I said, you've got cream peas? She said, I called your mother. You called my mama? I wanted to get in that 64 Chevy, and I wanted to drive to Austin, go hug my little mama and say, fix me some cream peas. I want to tell you, it feels so good to be loved in your language. You know, I hate to say it, I don't know what my mama's favorite dish is. I think she loves everything. But she knows mine. She knows mine. And to end with this last story, which is even a little more closer and more up to date. A couple of years ago, we were living in West Monroe, Louisiana. I was pastor at First Baptist West Monroe. And I decided that it was time to take my family out on an outing. My family likes country music, and so I decided to take and go see George Strait. My little woman thinks George Strait's the cutest thing there ever was. I told her, I said, honey, what has George got that I ain't got? She said, a lot. But anyhow. And so anyhow, I remember we were finishing, you know, we were getting all dressed up. I had on a Mo Better shirt, you know, Garth Brooks Mo Better shirt. A little Dusty, my little boy, he had on a Garth Brooks, a Brooks and Dunn shirt, sort of like a flame of fire. He looked like he was all decked out. Chad had a Mo Better shirt. My little woman, she looked like a Laurie Morgan. She didn't look like a pastor's wife. You know what I mean? I mean, she more like a deacon's wife. But anyhow, we just maybe an usher's. But anyhow, I don't know. We just a good look. I mean, we drove over to Shreveport, which was about 90 miles away. And we got over there on Saturday night. I couldn't believe I was doing this for my family. We ate at Ralph and Cat Coo's, and then we went there to the deal. And man, I knew we wouldn't get out there till midnight. I wouldn't get back home till 1:30 in the morning. I'd have to get up and preach 3 times, three worship services. My goodness gracious alive. And I'm going, how am I going to do all this? But what you do for your family, because we're sacrificial and we'll get a pair of socks for Christmas. But anyhow, we'll go ahead and we'll do what we got to do. And so I'm standing up there, and I'm not really getting into it. There, my wife's singing, the boys are singing. I'm just not really getting into it. And we're there and just sort of enjoying it as best we can. Well, I got to tell you about something that happened about a week before that. A week before that, I'd gone into my oldest boy's room to give him a hug good night, old Chad. I went in there and I said, "Hey, Chad, I love you, son. I like to hug on my boys." My dad and I always shook hands, old Floyd Leon.
Hey, put her there. Hey, come on. Put her there. All right.
And that's the way he says, "I love you." That's sort of his way. And but I like to hug on my boys. I'm going to give them a kiss. And I said, I'm going to do it forever. I won't do it in public, but I'm going to hug them and kiss on them. You know what I mean? And so I go in there, and I'm hugging on them, and I'm giving them some kisses. And my boy goes, "Daddy, come on, man. You always telling me you love me and hugging on me and kissing on me. Gosh, man, we're men. We're men." I said, "Son, I'm your daddy." "Dad, but we're men." He's about 13 years old. I said, "Well, son, I'm your daddy." And my dad and I, we all shook hands, but I want to hug my daddy. And I hug my daddy now and hug him, give him kisses all the time. He doesn't know how to handle it. I hug him and kiss him, and he just goes,
Well, y'all drive careful now. All right. Drive careful, and y'all are good kids, and we never had to bail you out of jail or anything. And we love you, and y'all be careful.
Well, but with my boys, and he said, "Dad, let's do what they do on Home Improvement." I said, "What do they do on Home Improvement?" He said, "Dad, they have a code way of saying I love you." I said, "What do you mean there's a code way?" He said, "Well, what they say is, how about those Tigers, those Detroit Tigers? And that means I love you. That's their code way of saying I love you." He said, "Let's say, how about those Cowboys?" I went, "Oh, Chad, come on, Dad." I went, "Son, come on." So finally I go, "How about those Cowboys?" And he goes, so I go back to the back bedroom, tell Laurie. She said, "Honey, he's going through a stage. Okay, you just need to love him. And I've got a book I want you to read." I've got a book. I said, "I ain't reading a book. You need to read the book." Well, anyhow, back to the story. A week later, we're there watching George singing. They're singing, "Oh, my exes live in Texas." And I'm just sort of standing there. I'm starting to bowl. But all of a sudden, old Chad comes over by me, puts his arm around me, looks up at me and says, "Hey, Dad." I said, "What, boy?" He said, "How about those Cowboys?" And I got into it. "Amarillo by morning. All my exes live in Texas." It was the best concert I'd ever been to in all my life. I just loved it. We all sang. When it was all over, we went and stood by a cardboard cutout of George Strait and got a picture with him. We got a cassette tape, a video, and it was great. We drove all the way home listening to that music. The next morning at church, while I was given the invitation, I was humming, "All my exes live in Texas. Amarillo by morning." All that to say, is your love tank full, or are you loving on empty? Learn to love others in their language. It's biblical. Because you see, we can love others because He first loved us. So let's love others, and more than likely they'll learn to reciprocate and love you in your language. God bless you. Is your love tank full, or are you loving on empty? God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.